Hey guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a knife video for you. This is a first impression on a knife that I have been pretty excited about for a long time. When we announced this, I was like, yeah, this is going to be great because there are not, in fact, there may be no production collaborations with Jason Guthrie. So this is the wee Guthrie. Very quickly, I'll show you what's in the box. All the standard wee stuff. Sticker, what sticker are they going with? They're going with sort of this dagger. I remember this design. Zipper pouch, a little bit of plastic. The knife is not in there. I've already taken it out. But just so you can see what you're going to be getting if you pick yourself up one of these. Let me get that out of the way and get the star of the show. This is the wee Guthrie. Absolutely gorgeous knife. One of the favorite things that Wee has done recently. The other standout to me in probably the last 2 or 3 years from Wee Knives has got to be the that Dalibor collaboration. That's pretty cool as well. But to me, this was first. I may end up picking up the Dalibor collaboration, but not in front of this. I've been a fan of Jason Guthrie for a number of years. I've actually been pretty close. Twice in the time that I've been collecting knives, I almost bought a Guthrie custom, a Ranger, which this is based on. They're hard to get, they're expensive, and if you're kind of not in the right place at the right time, it just isn't going to happen for you. So I'm pretty stoked that he did this collaboration. And as I've said many times before, collaborations are the place I think Wee really shines. They're able to deliver something that is so close, such high quality that you can really almost get the experience of what having a custom would be like. All right. Not really there, but very good. And of course, sometimes, depending on the maker and the age of the knife, you may get something better than the custom maker. That's certainly been known to happen over the years. But in a production knife, it makes it much more affordable for the guys like you and I to get our hands on something really cool from a designer that we enjoy. And Jason Guthrie is one of my favorites. So first of all, I guess we could do like just an overview. If you take a look, certainly you can see that this is pretty much the footprint of a Ranger. There's a little bit of an indentation in the scale here, which you don't always see on his knives, and usually there'd be one more hole, but otherwise, and of course the bolster is another difference. But in terms of the flavor of this knife, of the way this is cut out here and on the other side, this swale for your thumb, the blade shape, the plunge grind, the sharpening choil, all of these things are just about what you would see. Even the pocket clip is pretty well exactly what you'd see on a custom. So very cool. Kind of captured all of the flavor of the knife, including the size, which I am particularly stoked about. If they had done a collaboration on the Scout, I would have been deeply disappointed. The fact that they did the Ranger is really exciting to me. You guys know I like the larger knives. And then let's talk a little bit about the finishes and the material that this comes with. Take a look at this 20 CV blade with that hand-rubbed satin finish. That is absolutely spectacular. So well done. And we didn't used to do a great job on their hand-rubbed satin. I had a couple Wee knives where I was like, what is this? It almost looked bead blasted. Like, it was not great. But this is fantastic. They have done such a great job. And I will say, I've handled a few Wee knives recently, and it seems like they have made some changes. They've definitely upped their game a little bit. There are some things I would still like to see from them. I'd like to see dual row bearings with more. I don't think they've ever done dual row bearings. Now, their action is pretty dialed in, but my general preference is for dual row bearings whenever possible. And if I don't get them, I'll often try to find skiff bearings that will have dual row and fit in there. The other thing is, it would be nice to see Wee, take a page from Chris Reeve knives and do some heavier duty, sort of more substantial folders. All right, now that wouldn't make sense for this. This is sort of a slim, elongated design. And I do want to share something interesting. If you're reading, descriptions of Jason Guthrie and how he kind of got into knives, he said the Spyderco Military was a bit of an inspiration for him. And so I thought I'd throw that in. And of course, that's very much in keeping with the Ranger. The Ranger is a little bit of a cleaner design, but certainly it's paying attention to ergonomics as your hand just fits very nicely in a saber grip here. Hammer grip still works. You end up essentially losing this portion of the handle, but it's such a large knife that that's perfectly fine. The lock bar is really nicely done. So they've got great lock bar access here. Also great access to the thumb stud with this nice area that's milled out. And of course that's taken directly from the custom. The pocket clip goes in and out very, very well. And this particular one is done in what they are calling champagne. That's the anodization color. It's sort of bronzy brown. Very, very nice. A little bit understated. There are a couple other versions of this. There's a fully blacked out one where I think you lose something of, especially in the blade. Like, look at the lines in that blade. And to lose that seems like kind of sad. I guess they could do like a high polished DLC, which like Kaiser's been doing with some of their knives, but still, now you want the satin in this blade. The other option has, I want to say Nebula fat carbon, which is fine. I just didn't like the black again on the blade. This fully hand rubbed satin is, I think, the thing that makes this pop. All right. Very clean. Simply just the Guthrie signature here on this side. It is a bolster lock. The carbon fiber, by the way, is really, really nice. I don't think I've ever seen any not so great carbon fiber from WE. They tend to be pretty consistent about that. All right. I should give you the size and weight on this, but I can't stop ranting and raving about how awesome it is. So let's take a break and do that. This is 9 3/16 overall, so a little more than 9 1/8. All right, the blade length is just a hair under 4 inches, essentially 3 15/16, which is the same as the cutting edge. Okay. The grip area is large, 4.5 inches of grip area. So even if you have, gigantic monster hands, you're going to be fine with this knife. 5.5 inches closed. Now this is not for the faint of heart. So this knife is going to take a little bit of pocket space on you. But it's fairly slim. So in fact, I don't find it to be all that bad. I maybe should bring in the military one more time just so you can see. It's a little bit smaller in pocket than the military. And since everyone's familiar with the paramilitary 2, I should bring that in as well, because that'll give everyone a really good sense for the overall size of this. So there you go. I know a lot of YouTubers like to do Para 2 and Para 3, but for me, the Para 3 makes no sense at all. So Para 2, Military 2, Paramilitary 2 is much more in keeping with my wheelhouse. Let's get those guys out of the way. Are there any dimensions I've forgotten to share? Oh yeah, this weighs in at 4.5 ounces, which for a 9-inch plus knife, I think is pretty darn good. The last thing I can touch on is the ergonomics here. This, again, I think I've mentioned this, but this does feel very, very good in hand. So yeah, overall, I am absolutely enamored with this beautiful, beautiful knife. WE has done a great job on the build here. And of course, the classic Guthrie design is as good as I had always hoped that it would be. I will say, I always get a little bit nervous. There have been a lot of collaborations where I'm really excited to see what comes from the partnership between, a company and a maker. And then it turns out to be nothing good. And so that's always a little bit scary when you hear stories of a collaboration. But when it's WE knives, that never really happens. You can be pretty confident. And this is certainly a fantastic knife. Again, I'll give you one last look at that blade before I let you go. All right, thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll talk to you soon.